welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're stepping into a world steeped in ancient magic, where the very air, well, it just hums with forgotten power. Imagine, if you will, the quiet hush of the early morning, the mist heavy in the forbidden forest long before the bells of Hogwarts stir the castle walls. We're about to embark on a perilous journey with none other than Rubius Hagrid, keeper of keys and grounds. He's searching for a missing unicorn and stumbles upon, an encounter with magic far older and wilder than he ever anticipated. We've got a single, incredibly compelling narrative before us today, and our mission in this deep dive, to extract the profound insights from Hagrid's journey. We want to reveal how one young unicorn became a nexus of forgotten power and what that truly means for the delicate balance of the magical world.
Indeed. And what's so captivating about this story, I think, is that it's far more than just an adventure. I mean, it certainly has all the hallmarks of a thrilling quest, absolutely. But it's also a profound exploration into the very essence of ancient magic itself. It's a rare glimpse into the unintended consequences that can arise when such power is disturbed. And ultimately, it's a remarkable chronicle of transformation, not just of the courtier at its heart, Lira the unicorn, but also of those unexpectedly drawn into her orbit. We're going to unpack the layers of this narrative, uncovering how a series of harrowing events turn this young unicorn into a conduit for forces long dormant, and, crucially, the implications this holds for the magical world we thought we understood.
Okay, so our story opens with this tangible sense of unease. You really feel it. We find Hagrid, boots sunk deep into the damp, leaf-strewn earth at the edge of the forbidden forest. His brow is furrowed, in a way that signals more than just typical concern. It speaks of this deep, gnawing apprehension. And beside him, his loyal boarhound, Fang, usually so boisterous and eager, right? But now he's sniffing the air with this uncharacteristic, almost mournful caution, his tail low.
Yeah, even Fang knows something's wrong. That's telling.
Exactly. And the source of this profound worry, a missing unicorn. But not just any unicorn. This is Lira, a young filly, her coat still glistening with that silver-bright sheen of youth, barely out of her foolhood. She's one of the rare few born in the forest that year, a creature of pure magic known intimately only to Hagrid and the ancient centaurs who guard these woods.
So she's special, even among unicorns, known personally.
Right. And what truly sets off the internal alarm bells for Hagrid, what makes this disappearance so unsettling, are the circumstances. There's no sign of struggle, no torn earth, no telltale drops of blood, just an absolute inexplicable absence. It's as if she simply ceased to be.
And that sheer cleanliness of Lyra's vanishing, that's the first significant clue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unicorns, especially young ones, they don't just disappear without a trace, not like this. A typical predator leaves chaos, an accident, signs of impact, something. But for Lira, there's nothing, which immediately suggests something far more complex than a conventional physical threat.
Right, not a wolf or something mundane.
Exactly. And when Hagrid kneels down, his large, calloused fingers sweeping across the soft, damp mud, he finds the first real hint of extraordinary magic at play. Faint hoof prints. Yes, they're silver-tinged, as you'd expect from a unicorn, but they're strangely distorted, almost as if they were smudged or elongated by something unnatural, something that bent the very ground beneath them.
Smudged, magically altered.
Precisely. This distortion, this subtle yet profound alteration of what should be clear, solid evidence, it's a powerful indicator that the fabric of reality itself, or at least the natural order, has been subtly warped by some unfamiliar magic. It's not just a physical absence, it's a magical one, a kind of ethereal imprint left behind.
Wow. Okay. And those distorted prints, they lead purposefully east. And this direction is profoundly significant, almost like a deliberate choice. They're certainly not leading deeper into the heart of the forbidden forest, which is where Lira and her kind would naturally dwell, right? Where they'd find sanctuary.
It's safe sound, yeah.
No, these prints point directly towards the treacherous borderlands, toward a place that even the most seasoned gamekeepers and creatures of the forest approach with dread, Dark Fen Swamp. This path, explicitly away from safety and into known, almost legendary peril, it immediately signals a deliberate, perhaps even malevolent, intent behind Lyra's disappearance. It's a journey into the unknown, guided by an unnatural force.
And Dark Fen Swamp. It isn't just a location on a map. It functions almost as a character within this narrative, doesn't it? It's steeped in this terrifying reputation, these ominous legends. It bears many names, each one more chilling than the last, whispered in hushed tones around campfires and in the deeper parts of the forest. The centaurs, with their ancient wisdom, call it Northmoor, or that means the Drowned Valley.
The Drowned Valley. Chilling.
Isn't it? Others know it by its unsettling acoustic qualities, calling it Whistling Mere, for the eerie, disembodied cries and wails that are rumored to be heard echoing across its murky waters by night. But what's truly telling here is Hagrid's own reaction. This is a man who famously feared little, right? He's faced giant spiders, giants themselves.
Creatures most wizards wouldn't even name.
Exactly. Yet we're told he had walked its very edge only once, and that experience left him with this palpable sense of apprehension. His dread speaks volumes about the swamp's truly unsettling, malevolent nature. It's a place where even the brave feel that cold knot of fear tighten in their gut.
And the tales associated with this place, the ones that give it its chilling reputation, they are genuinely macabre. Imagine, if you can, the descriptions Hagrid must have heard. Trees that bled black sap. What does that even imply? It conjures such a visceral image of decay and unnaturalness.
It really does. Is it just a morbid botanical curiosity? Or is it a sign of a deep-seated curse, a natural magical anomaly? Or maybe something even more sinister, a pervasive corruption, festering within the very ecosystem of the swamp, leaching into the lifeblood of the plant life?
It feels wrong, fundamentally wrong.
The imagery of black sap is deeply evocative. It suggests something fundamentally corrupted, a perversion of natural life. It implies a long-standing, perhaps even sentient magical blight that isn't just affecting the land, but actively bleeding into it, leaving a mark of profound unnaturalness. It's like a symptom of a much larger magical disease spreading through the place.
And then there are the fires that burned blue and whispered secrets.
Right. And as you know, blue fire in magical lore is rarely common or benign. It's often associated with intense, sometimes dangerous, volatile magical energies, or even the presence of powerful spirits. Think of fiend fire or certain ancient rituals.
Not exactly welcoming hearth fires.
Not at all. And the whispered secrets amplify this chilling effect. It suggests the environment isn't merely passive. It's influencing, perhaps even subtly communicating with those who enter, maybe preying on their minds, offering insidious temptations, or driving them towards madness. It hints at a pervasive, influencing magical environment, not just isolated phenomena, a swamp that actively seeks to ensnare.
And the absolute worst of the rumors, the thing that truly sends a shiver down your spine, and clearly Hagrid's too, the Black Glint. This creature is painted as a major, terrifying element of the swamp's horror, described as a shadow that moved through water without ripples. Just think about that for a moment. Something passing through water, which reveals the slightest disturbance without creating a single ripple.
It defies physics, even magical physics as we understand them.
It really does. And it's said to draw in magical beasts and leave behind only silence. What does a creature that draws in and leaves silence imply about its nature or purpose? What does it truly do to its victims?
Well, what's fascinating is the complete absence of typical predatory signs. A conventional predator hunts, stalks, struggles. But the glint draws in. That implies a lure, right?
Yeah.
A non-physical attraction, maybe a psychological or magical pull that victims just can't resist. It's not about physical strength or speed.
More insidious.
Much more. And silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the absence of life, of struggle, of a victim's final cry. It suggests a creature that completely consumes or nullifies its prey, perhaps not physically, but spiritually, magically, leaving nothing behind but an emptiness, a void where life once was. This description immediately sets up the Black Glint as something beyond a typical dangerous beast. It's a force that consumes essence, leaving a profound vacuum.
Like a magical black hole.
In a way, yes. If we connect this to the bigger picture of the swamp's corruption, it suggests a force of anti-life, a profound magical imbalance that actively drains the vitality from its ecosystem. It's less a creature and more a phenomenon of negative magic.
So imagine this place so thoroughly steeped in dark, ancient magic, so unsettling in its very nature, that even Hagrid feels this cold dread settle deep in his bones. What does this profound apprehension reveal about the untamed, forgotten corners of the wizarding world?
It tells us there are indeed places where modern magic and modern wizards, with their wands and carefully constructed spells, well, they have no dominion. Places where ancient wild forces that predate organized magic as we know it, still hold absolute sway. It's a stark reminder that the wizarding world is far larger and far more mysterious than most of its inhabitants perhaps care to acknowledge. There are deep, dark corners.
Definitely. Okay, so Hagrid pushes on. Section 2. The Poachers, the Glyph and Lira's Awakening. As Hagrid and Fang press onward, deeper into the swamp, their journey itself becomes this living testament to the increasing saturation of raw, untamed magic. They're traversing thickening woods, bleeding into creeping marshes, the ground growing spongy, treacherous beneath their boots, threatening to swallow them whole. Strange mushrooms, almost alien, pulse faintly with this ethereal light, lighting their path in an eerie, otherworldly glow.
It sounds incredibly dangerous just to walk through.
Absolutely. Hagrid's determination is palpable, though, this focused, almost grim purpose in every lumbering step, and it's underscored by the heavy crossbow slung over his back, a weapon he carried, as the narrative explicitly states, not for hunting, accurate. That detail, that he brought a weapon clearly for defense, for confrontation, not for sport or sustenance, tells you everything about the gravity of the situation. He was going into battle.
Yeah, that's a huge signal. And those environmental shifts you mentioned, as they advance the spongy ground, the pulsing mushrooms, they're absolutely crucial, aren't they? They're far from just atmospheric details. They're vital clues. They hint at a volatile ecosystem, one increasingly infused with, maybe even actively reacting to, intense magical energies.
Like the swamp itself is alive with this power.
Exactly. The glowing mushrooms especially suggest a form of bioluminescence or maybe uncontrolled magical growth that points directly to a heavily saturated, potentially unstable, and certainly dangerous magical environment. It's a clear signal that Hagrid is approaching the very core of whatever powerful ancient magical anomaly is at play here. The swamp isn't just a setting, it's becoming an active participant.
Right. So the sun was high, though barely visible through the oppressive canopy, when the trees finally thinned. The forest floor turned slick with moss and dark standing water. Hagrid pauses, his eyes narrowing, his breath catching. The swamp opens ahead of them like a festering wound, this desolate landscape of bent, twisted trees and black, still pools that seemed to swallow sound and light. A thin, sickly mist clung low, rising like foul breath swirling around ancient trunks.
A truly desolate image.
And then the chilling discovery that made Hagrid's heart plummet. In the viscous mud, just beyond Lyra's delicate hoof prints, the prints stopped. They didn't fade gradually like she'd taken flight or just vanished. They simply ceased, as if she'd been snatched right off the earth.
Abruptly, like hitting a wall.
Exactly. Hagrid crouches, his huge frame barely disturbing the ground, which is churned by more than just hooves. There were small, sharp, hurried boot marks. A cold wave of dread washes over him. Poachers, he mutters, his voice a low growl. And then the truly damning evidence. A tattered scrap of dark green fabric, not wizard robes, but hunting gear, caught on a thorn bush. Nearby, scattered in the mud, the splintered remains of smashed crates and cages, one still stained with silver hairs. Undeniable proof of Lyra's capture.
The sudden, abrupt end of Lyra's tracks, combined with those undeniable signs of human presence and struggle. It confirms foul play beyond any doubt. This human element immediately introduces a layer of calculated malice, a deliberate act. We know, of course, that unicorns are incredibly rare, sacred creatures. Their blood, lore tells us, has immense power and prolongs life.
But at a terrible price, cursed life.
Right, exactly. A cursed existence for the consumer. This info is widely known, especially among those seeking dark power. However, and this is critical, this raises an important question. Lyra is young, barely out of her foolhood, her horn only just forming. She wouldn't be hunted for her blood in the traditional sense. That's usually sought from mature unicorns whose magic is fully developed. So why target her?
Good point. Why the young one?
It immediately shifts the focus from simple, opportunistic poaching to something far more complex and sinister. It suggests a different, perhaps even more dangerous motive. Her youth implies a unique vulnerability or perhaps a unique potential that these poachers were seeking to exploit.
And this shift in motivation, this deeper, more sinister purpose, is driven home with stark clarity by what Hagrid discovers next. Amidst the ruined camp, on the inside flap of a crude tent, someone had scrolled this desperate, almost frantic warning. It was written in an ink that shimmered oddly in the dim, swampy light, pulsating with a faint, unnatural glow. "She's not what we thought. We couldn't hold her. We ran, don't follow." Stark words almost screamed onto the fabric.
Wow. Just wow.
And right beside this chilling message, an even more unsettling discovery, a jagged glyph etched into the canvas, sharp and angular, alien in design. And it was humming faintly with a dark, palpable magic that seemed to vibrate in the very air around it.
This truly is a pivotal moment. It fundamentally recontextualizes everything we thought we knew about Lyra's capture. The poacher's message dramatically changes the stakes. She wasn't simply held captive, she became something unforeseen, something terrifying enough to make hardened poachers, people used to danger flee in utter terror.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It really does, about the raw, uncontrollable power she awakened. And the glyph, it isn't just a symbol or a crude word, it's humming faintly with dark magic, signifying a powerful, active magical component. This strongly suggests the glyph didn't just contain Lyra, but maybe it activated something profound and ancient within her, causing her transformation, making her uncontrollably powerful and dangerous.
So the magic backfired on them, big time.
Spectacularly. It implies the magic was used with profound, unforeseen, and ultimately disastrous consequences for the poachers. It also begs the question, What kind of magic did they think they were using, and what force did they truly unleash?
And as if on cue, summoned by this revelation, the first direct manifestation of the Black Glint appears near the abandoned camp. The thick, murky bog water begins to bubble, slowly at first, then more vigorously, like something immense stirring beneath. There's the sound of movement, slow, deliberate, heavy, yet somehow silent. A lone, oily ripple spreads across a black pool from an unseen center. A nervous bird gives a sharp, frantic warning cry, then suddenly falls into absolute silence.
Chilling. That silence is terrifying.
Hagrid feels this cold, creeping dread, the hairs on his arms standing on end, a primal fear bypassing his usual courage.
And this initial subtle encounter with the glint powerfully reinforces its non-traditional spectral nature. Its subtle movements, the bubbling, the ripple, the lack of sound, and the resulting eerie silence highlight its predatory essence. It's not acting like a physical beast rushing in for a kill. It's like something drawn to fear, something that consumes sound and life itself.
It's taking its time.
Confident.
Exactly. Demonstrating this chilling, almost supernatural confidence that this is its domain and its prey is already within its grasp. This is not a threat you can just outrun or outfight conventionally. It forces a complete rethinking of what a threat even means in the magical world. It's a hunter of essence, not just flesh.
Driven by this powerful protective instinct for Lira, Hagrid pushes deeper into the swamp, following her now erratic, frantic tracks. The feeling of being washed intensifies, this pervasive, chilling sensation. He notes the ancient, unwholesome magic permeating the air grows thicker, heavier, more oppressive. Crucially, he sees new, unsettling drag lines alongside Lyra's footprints.
Drag lines, suggesting she wasn't just running. Exactly, suggesting she was being pulled or relentlessly pursued by something unseen. Then, another grim discovery. The grotesque carcass of a swamp elk, with strange, scorched marks that shimmered faintly around it. A silent testament to a destructive power that could leave physical damage despite being ethereal.
Connecting these dots is vital here. The drag lines, combined with the glint's non-physical presence we just discussed, strongly suggest Lyra was being pulled or pursued, drawn, perhaps irresistibly, into its sphere of influence. And the elk's carcass, with those strange, glowing, scorched marks, that's undeniable evidence of the glint's destructive capabilities. Despite its ethereal form, remember Hagrid's bolt passing through it later, it's clearly capable of leaving profound physical damage. Its power has tangible, devastating effects.
It's a spirit of destruction, then.
Seems like it, not just a shadow.
And then, without warning, the Black Glint reveals itself in full. Terrifying detail. No taller than a child, but it moved with a slinking grace that defied its twisted frame. No visible eyes, only a glistening black hide that seemed to absorb all light, a moving void. Its limbs were thin and too long, its fingers tipped with hooks, yet it had no teeth, only a glow as if light itself were bleeding out from within.
That description, utterly nightmarish. Light bleeding out.
And the sound it made. Hagrid described it as something like the memory of a scream played backwards. Truly disturbing, unearthly. Hagrid, in pure desperation, fires his crossbow directly at it. But just as he'd feared, the bolt passes right through, uselessly thudding into the stone beyond conventional defense.
The creature's chilling appearance, the unnatural sound, it signals something deeply, profoundly unnatural. It's a non-corporeal entity, pure magical energy or shadow, yet it has this profound destructive impact on the physical world. Hagrid's bolt passing through confirms it's not flesh and bone, which sets up the central problem.
Yeah.
How do you fight something that isn't truly there?
Something immune to normal attacks.
Exactly. Something that exists only as a manifestation of malevolent magic. It forces a complete rethink of magical threats and effective tools. It's like a spiritual parasite drawn to power, not a physical hunter.
The tension peaks in this deep, waterlogged cave where Hagrid finally finds Lira. She's unconscious, her silvery coat dulled by swamp grime. Beside her, huddled and trembling, is the young poacher, Tobin, his face pale with fear and dawning horror. Lira is still, but here's where it gets really interesting, the profound turn. A faint glow pulsing beneath her skin, a light soft and golden beating like a second heart.
A living light.
Unmistakable. Tobin, visibly shaken, practically whispers his confession. She's not normal. She started glowing after we took her. She burned one of us just by brushing past.
He reveals, voice thick with terror and regret, they made a deal with someone, used the mysterious glyph, and it called something else, something they clearly hadn't anticipated. And this is the deep dive's central revelation, the real turning point. Lira is the magic. The glyph, which the poachers thought would help contain or control her, didn't trap her. It activated something ancient and profoundly powerful within her, what Dumbledore later calls the wild source.
So the glint wasn't after her for traditional unicorn reasons.
No. The Black Glint, it becomes clear, wasn't drawn to her youth or her horn's potential for blood. It was drawn to this nascent, uncontrolled power erupting within her. That explains the poacher's desperate terror and panicked flight. They awakened a force far beyond their comprehension or control. The concept of borrowed magic Tobin describes, and the idea it called something else, raises questions about its true origins and destiny. It hints this power might have an agenda, an ancient purpose.
It's not a tool, it's an entity, maybe.
Or at least a force with agency,
Yeah. And then the defiance. Lira stirs. For a terrifying moment, her nascent glow faltered from fear, the golden pulse dimming. But then, almost with a gasp, a cry described as pure defiance against the encroaching darkness, it flared bright and golden. A blinding pure light that banished shadows. This powerful surge forced the glint to recoil, hissing, and it dissolved under a thread of silver light pulsing not from her body but from her young, barely formed horn. A raw, instinctive burst of protective power.
That moment is incredibly powerful. It demonstrates Lyra's awakening agency. She chose to fight, using the very power that had attracted the glint but now directed with intent. This shows she's far more than just a vessel for magic. She's an active participant in her own destiny. A potent, sentient entity, not a helpless victim. It's a profound shift from vulnerability to inherent strength and choice. It suggests the wild source, once awakened, responds to the will of its vessel. Her horn, even young, is a conduit.
Amazing. As the glint retreats, dissolving into the swamp's shadows, a new, unsettling figure approaches Hagrid and Tobin at the glowfly pool. Seemingly unfazed by the chaos, Tobin immediately recognizes him, his voice a hoarse whisper filled with terror. The broker, or his agent, the one who gave us the glit.
Ah, the broker. His entrance is hugely significant. His voice is described as soft and cold, almost emotionless, his demeanor utterly detached. He immediately recognizes Lyra's state, confirming his deep understanding of these ancient forces and his connection to them. He says, "The creature is touched by the wild source. Now what grows within her is not meant for your forest nor your school. It belongs to the swamp and to those who know how to use it."
Belongs to the swamp and those who know how to use it.
It's exactly. This statement explicitly implies a larger, highly organized interest in this ancient power. A shadowy covenant with a very clear, almost possessive agenda regarding the wild source. What does it mean for her power to belong to the swamp? It suggests this ancient magic has its own stewards, its own dedicated users, people who view it not as chaotic, but as a resource to be controlled, cultivated, and manipulated according to their own ancient laws. They have a claim to her power, a claim predating Hagrid's discovery.
And the broker doesn't fight. He just issues this explicit, chilling warning that hangs heavy in the humid air. The glint has failed, but it will not rest. The power in that filly calls to the old things. If you carry her out of here, they will follow you, will bring darkness upon your school.
And this warning is absolutely critical, profound foreshadowing. It establishes the glint was merely one manifestation, a symptom, of the old things now stirring, awakened by Lyra's power. The broker isn't just stating a fact or predicting, he's issuing a dire prophecy, a direct threat of what will inevitably happen if Hagrid removes Lira from the swamp's ancient influence. This immediately broadens the threat from a single creature to ancient entities, perhaps entire factions or primal beings responding to the wild source.
So taking her back means bringing the danger with her.
Precisely. It foreshadows a much larger, potentially world-altering conflict. It highlights the profound danger Lyra's presence and the immense power she carries poses to Hogwarts itself. It's no longer just about saving a unicorn, it's about protecting an entire institution, maybe even the wider wizarding world, from forces long dormant and hungry for the wild source. The broker isn't an enemy in the traditional sense here. He's more like a messenger of an ancient, unavoidable destiny.
Wow. Okay, so Section 3. Sanctuary at Hogwarts and the Covenant's Call. With the broker's chilling warning echoing and the weight of that prophecy settling heavy, Hagrid makes the solemn journey back to Hogwarts. He cradles Lira carefully against his chest, her steady golden glow, a constant warm reminder of the incredible ancient magic she now harbors. A beacon against the darkness. Tobin follows a short distance behind, his quiet remorse palpable, grappling with the immense consequences of his actions.
You can almost feel his internal struggle.
Yeah. The very moment they arrive at the familiar, comforting castle gates, Professor McGonagall is there as if she knew. Her immediate concern is evident, her sharp eyes instantly picking up on Lyra's unique state. "Something's growing in her magic I've never seen," she observes, her voice grave.
And Hogwarts, for all its power and protections, serves as more than just a school here. It's a bastion, yes, but also a crucible where ancient secrets often surface, where magical understanding is tested. McGonagall's reaction is incredibly telling. For her, a witch of immense power and vast knowledge, to admit seeing magic she's never encountered before, that underscores the truly unprecedented nature of Lyra's condition.
It elevates it immediately.
Absolutely. Beyond a simple rescue into a profound magical mystery. A phenomenon challenging the foundations of known wizarding magic. Lira isn't just rare, she's a unique magical anomaly.
Their next inevitable stop is Dumbledore's office. As always, the headmaster remains calm, yet his grave demeanor as he gently examines Lira confirms the immense stakes. He understands immediately, with that profound, almost unnerving clarity unique to him. He tells Hagrid, "Magic that does not belong to our time has touched her. Remnants in this world, rivers of old power that flow beneath the surface of things forgotten and buried."
Rivers of old power. Amazing phrasing.
Isn't it? He doesn't describe Lira as merely a unicorn anymore, but as something far more significant, more potent, a vessel waiting to be filled.
Dumbledore's insight here is truly profound, placing Lyra's magic within this much larger forgotten context of old power and ancient magical currents. This isn't just a power surge, it suggests a pre-existing magical network, a fundamental aspect of magic itself, beyond modern understanding and conventional practice. What does it mean for magic to flow beneath the surface of things? It implies this deep underlying reality of magic we rarely perceive, currents of power modern wizards have forgotten or can't tap into.
And he stresses the risk, doesn't he?
Yes, crucially. He wisely stresses with characteristic foresight that borrowed magic always carries a price. Not a throwaway line. It's a vital hint of the inherent risks and profound responsibilities that come with wielding such immense, untamed power. It suggests even if you can use this old magic, there are consequences, perhaps unforeseen, perhaps unavoidable, which raises the big question for us. What exactly is this wild source, and why is it awakening now through a young unicorn?
Right. Was it natural or forced?
Exactly.
So with the gravity understood, measures are taken for Lyra's safety. Hagrid's hut, already sprawling, is hastily enlarged and reinforced by precise, intricate spells from Professor Flitwick. But beyond the school's formal protections, Hagrid adds his own formidable defenses. Ancient runes etched into beams, thick lines of salt meticulously laid, powerful sigils whispered to him years ago by a goblin elder.
It's a real blend of magics.
Combining raw, earthy magic with institutional power. Meanwhile, Tobin, the young poacher, begins his surprising, quiet redemption arc. He's placed under Professor Sinistra's watchful eye, often seen in the library, diligently studying thick, dusty tomes about magical ecosystems and cursed environments, asking no favors, making no excuses.
That protection around Lira, it represents a unique and powerful blend of magical philosophies, doesn't it? Structured, academic Hogwarts, magic, precise, controlled, theoretical, combined with Hagrid's raw, ancient, deeply instinctive knowledge of the earth and its creatures. This blend is absolutely essential for dealing with magic of this caliber, magic that defies modern categorization.
You need both, maybe.
Perhaps. And Tobin's unexpected dedication, his clear willingness to atone, that's also incredibly significant. It signifies the transformative power of true understanding and responsibility. He's moving from a self-interested poacher to a dedicated scholar, genuinely seeking atonement, driven by the profound implications of what he unleashed. His journey reflects a broader theme. Understanding, compassion, responsibility, not just raw power, are key to navigating these ancient forces. His remorse isn't just regret, it's a catalyst for growth.
But despite all these formidable protections, the signs of continued vigilance from the mysterious covenant or the old things are subtle but relentlessly persistent. The wards around Hagrid's hut flicker occasionally, almost imperceptibly, like they're being probed. A charm stone, placed for protection, cracks with a sound like snapping glass, indicating strain on the magical barrier.
Oh, actual physical effects on the wards.
And most unsettling, a disembodied voice echoes, seemingly from nowhere, chilling Hagrid. "You've done well to hold her this long, but you cannot keep her from what she is becoming." A reminder, their awareness transcends physical boundaries.
This constant, subtle pressure highlights the persistent, non-physical nature of the threat Lira represents. The Covenant isn't just observing or waiting. They are actively testing the protections, probing weaknesses, communicating their unwavering intent in unsettling ways. Dumbledore's explanation to Hagrid clarifies the old things. He's drawing attention, not just from those who seek power, but from those who remember it. Beings who knew that magic not as a tool, but as a living thing.
Beings who remember it.
Exactly. This confirms the threat comes not just from those wanting to exploit the wild source, but from entities, maybe ancient beings or primordial spirits, fundamentally connected to it. They view it not as something to be wielded by lesser beings, but as a living force to be honored or perhaps released. Their interest in Lira isn't predatory in the usual sense, but proprietorial, like she belongs to them.
That's a scary thought. The Covenant's interest then escalates dramatically with the arrival of a new, unsettling visitor to Hogwarts. She appears silently, a woman with sharp features, silver hair braided tight, eyes like polished agate, reflecting light with ancient, unblinking intensity. Claims to be a watcher of magical boundaries, her presence alone exuding profound age and authority. She reveals a chilling historical precedent, a warning that's deeply unsettling. Once long ago in the forests of eastern Lira, a unicorn touched by wild source. It grew, it flourished, and then it shattered. The forest burned for 3 days.
Oof. It's a direct historical example. Delivered by a seemingly impartial watcher, it significantly ups the stakes, moves beyond mere prophecy into concrete, devastating reality. It's not hypothetical. It's a terrifying glimpse into the destructive potential of uncontrolled wild source magic.
Shattered, and the forest burned for days.
The implication that Lira, if left unchecked or contained indefinitely, might be given time to become a similar world-shattering danger. That's grave. It reinforces the idea this isn't a power to be simply contained or ignored. It introduces profound urgency, inevitability. Suggests Lyra's awakening as part of a larger ancient cycle, and uncontrolled power could lead to cataclysm.
And then the crucial delivery. The object shifting everything from prophecy to direct summons, the mysterious messenger leaves a single stone, flat, smooth, and marked with a sigil that shimmered faintly with inner fire, the antler serpent. Same symbol from the poacher's tent, right? But here it holds a different, more ancient resonance.
The context changes everything.
Yeah. The messenger's words accompanying it are a direct, unavoidable invitation, imbued with strange, compelling power. This is a token of meeting. When she is ready, when she can feel its call, it will guide her to the place where choice must be made. She cannot be forced, she cannot be caged, but the gate will open only if she's willing.
This is a key turning point in Lyra's destiny. The stone isn't a threat, it's an invitation, a call to a necessary destiny. The antler serpent sigil, previously a symbol of misguided control on the poacher's scroll, now takes on profound meaning. Revealed as a symbol of the Covenant's true purpose, not just manipulation, but perhaps stewardship or guidance towards a greater ancient goal. And the emphasis on she is chosen and she must choose. It highlights Lyra's unique agency, underscores the paramount importance of free will in this ancient conflict.
She's not a pawn, she's the active participant.
Exactly. Which raises the question, what kind of gate are they referring to? What does it mean for Lira to be its key? Is it literal or metaphorical? A threshold to a new understanding of magic and what lies beyond.
So many questions. Okay, section 4, the journey to the gate and the ultimate choice. As the quiet, golden autumn months progress within Hogwarts' protective sphere, Lira undergoes subtle yet profound changes. Her movements, once tentative, become fluid, graceful. Her strength fully returned, her burgeoning magic noticeably more refined, less volatile. She ventures further from Hagrid's hut, drawn to quiet glades and ancient trees near the forest edge. When she walks, the ground beneath her hooves bloomed briefly with moss and tiny flowers that faded as quickly as they came. A whisper of living magic.
That's beautiful, transient beauty.
Birds alight near her without fear, their songs softening. A young fox, usually skittish, even nuzzles her flank. She becomes unmistakably sentient, her deep, knowing gaze holding deeper understanding, quiet wisdom far beyond her age. She's integrating the wild source, not just containing it.
Lyra's transformation here is deeply significant. Her integration of the wild source evolves from raw eruption to something refined, harmonious. Her magic isn't just raw power, it actively influences her environment in gentle, life-affirming ways. Suggests a developing balance, even profound mastery over the ancient energies. Her undeniable sentience is crucial. She's not just a passive vessel, but a conscious entity actively engaging with her unique destiny, learning to direct the immense power within, its inherent power finding purpose.
And Tobin, too, continues his remarkable transformation, no longer bearing that wide-eyed shame and fear. He carries himself now with quiet resolve, silent determination, diligently aids Hagrid with creature care, spends countless hours taking notes in a tattered letter-bound journal. His tireless research in the Hogwarts library leads him to a chilling yet illuminating discovery. Ancient texts referring to the mysterious covenant, not just as a group, but as watchers, the last circle, even those who speak to the root of magic.
Speak to the root of magic. Powerful stuff.
His realization culminates in a breathless, almost reverent whisper to Hagrid. She's not just part of a source. She is the key. They're not waiting for her. They're waiting on her to open something that's been locked for ages.
Tobin's dedication. It's a powerful testament to the transformative power of understanding and growth. His research confirms the extreme antiquity and profound, almost cosmic purpose of the Covenant. solidifies Lira's role as a literal key to something ancient and long sealed. This isn't about Lira just gaining power. It's about her fulfilling a preordained role that could unlock fundamental aspects of magic itself, forces dormant for millennia. It shifts Lira from passive recipient to active agent of monumental change, destined to open a portal to something truly primordial. His atonement is linked to understanding her purpose.
The pivotal moment arrives when Lira, with that newfound sentience and quiet understanding, fully embraces her destiny. Without prompting, she leaves her hut, walks directly to the single smooth stone left by the messenger, and stands over it. In her powerful presence, the sigil on the stone shifts, morphs before their eyes into a spiraling ring of ancient glowing runes and a clearly defined curved path seeming to lead into the stone.
Stone reacts to her.
The stone grows warm, pulsing with internal energy. The very air hums with palpable, resonant energy. Lira bows her head, not in submission, but in understanding. A deep, knowing acceptance. She is truly ready.
This is the emotional core of Lira's journey, her active, conscious acceptance of her profound role. The stone sigil transforming in her presence confirms her unique, inherent connection and readiness. It's her free will aligning perfectly with ancient destiny, a truly powerful moment of self-realization acknowledging her inherent nature. The stone reacting underscores her significance as the chosen one, the literal key, a moment of profound agency.
In response to these escalating signs, Lyra's clear readiness, Hagrid calls a secret council. Deep beneath the castle, ancient chamber, walls imbued with magic. Dumbledore's there, McGonagall, Flitwick, Sinistra, a nervous archivist from the Department of Mysteries, and the aged centaur Malin, eyes holding forest wisdom. The discussion's tense, fraught with the immense responsibility of Lyra's safety and the implications of her untamed power.
And this council highlights the vast range of perspectives grappling with Lyra's unprecedented existence. The archivist, representing institutional knowledge, caution, sees Lira as a nexus where old magic gathers, suggests extreme caution, maybe containment, study.
Protect the status quo.
Understandably. But Malin, the centaur, offers the raw wisdom of the wild. Rooted in natural cycles, ancient freedoms, she must be tested not by us, by herself. Magic that chooses must be allowed to speak. That juxtaposition of magical philosophies contain versus allow natural forces is fascinating. Reflects the core tension. Control versus freedom, knowledge versus instinct.
Dumbledore, with his characteristic wisdom seeing further, offers the definitive conclusion. Cuts through the fear and debate with quiet authority. We prepare her to choose, and when the time comes, we stand by her not as masters, not as shields, but as friends. Powerful statement of trust. They agree to send her to Alban Thorn, a sacred circle, a place of profound primordial magic from the time before wands.
This is a truly crucial philosophical decision, perhaps one of Dumbledore's most profound. Choosing to prepare Lira for agency, not imprisoning her, exploiting her power, or forcing a path, speaks volumes about his respect for individual will, even in magical creatures. It frames the journey as self-discovery and destiny, where Lyra's choice is paramount, not their control. He acknowledges some powers, especially from the wild source, can't be controlled or contained indefinitely, only guided, understood, allowed to fulfill their purpose. Sending her to Alban Thorn, predating wands, signifies a return to elemental magic, where her true nature can unfold, unburdened by modern constructs.
Under a heavy, somber sky mirroring their decisions wait, Hagrid, Tobin, and Fang accompany Lira on her final journey from Hogwarts. Dumbledore watches them go from the gates, a silent, knowing figure against ancient stone. As they travel westward, the land visibly transforms, shedding Hogwarts' cultivated beauty, becoming an ancient wilderness. Trees grow gnarled, twisted, branches touched by starlight, like they remember when heavens were closer. Lira leads, guided by instinct, her presence a magnet for wild magic. The stone in Hagrid's pack grows warmer near ancient, forgotten magical sites dotting the primordial landscape.
The atmospheric shift perfectly reflects the deeper, wilder magic they're approaching. Trees touched by starlight, Lyra's intuitive navigation, reinforces her profound connection. She's becoming one with the force that called her, part of the wild source, guiding them to its heart. The land itself responds, recognizing its kin. Not just a journey through space, but through magical time. Into an era when magic was raw, unbound, deeply integrated with nature.
Just before the gate, air crackling with almost unbearable tension, a cloaked figure emerges from the ancient forest. Face obscured by shimmering haze like heat rising, speaks with ancient resonant voice claiming to be of the Covenant, addresses Lira directly. You come to wake the source, you bring the key, do you know the cost? Then, a chilling, profound declaration crystallizing Lyra's essence. She is a door. The figure delivers one last, non-negotiable warning. Lira must go alone to the circle, no blade, no spell, no hand to guide her.
This encounter solidifies the immense stakes, reinforces Lyra's solitary pivotal role. Describing Lira as a door is incredibly powerful. Suggests she doesn't just contain magic, but is the passage to it, the literal opening to the wild source, a living gateway to forgotten power. The ominous mention of the cost implies success itself might come at a high price. Maybe profound transformation altering Lira forever, or some exchange, not just opening, but exchange, transformation. And the command to go alone emphasizes the profound personal nature of this choice. A destiny she must meet herself, unshielded, truly embracing her unique purpose.
They finally arrive at Ulventhorn, a wide, desolate hollow ringed by towering, jagged monoliths, giant's teeth stones deeply carved with ancient swirling runes pulsing faintly. Centered within this ancient ring, a massive arch, seemingly twisted silver and stone, radiating ancient power. Lyra steps forward without prompting, glowing brighter with every step, coat shimmering like spun moonlight. Pauses, turns her head to look at Hagrid and Tobin, a silent, knowing farewell. Then, with an almost imperceptible nod, steps through the arch.
The profound silence and vast darkness beyond the arch are notable, described as not evil, not cold, but vast. Not malevolence, but a primordial space of magic. Boundless, ancient, existing beyond familiar understanding, the antithesis of structured magic. A return to something fundamental, untamed, boundless. It is the very source itself. Pure, unadulterated magical energy. Her stepping through is an act of pure faith in her destiny.
And then, the climax. The wait is agonizing, but finally, Lyra returns. She emerges, but she is not the same. Taller now, more graceful, form elongated, ethereal, her horn no longer nascent, but a full spiraling lance of silver and pearl, gleaming with inner light. Her coat shimmers like frost and moonlight, shifting, flowing with unseen energies. The golden glow within now shines not as a flame, but as a star, constant cosmic radiant.
Like a star.
Wow. Her eyes hold a depth he could not understand, something vast, sorrowful, and wide, as if they'd witnessed starbirths, passage of eons. Tobin, stunned, barely whispers, did it change her? But Hagrid, with profound wisdom and quiet awe, offers the ultimate answer, resonating with the heart of this deep dive. No, lad, she changed it.
And that is the ultimate profound revelation. Lyra's transformation isn't mere growth, but profound evolution. Realization of her absolute full potential as a being of the wild source. Hagrid's succinct, powerful statement, she changed it, implies she didn't just passively pass through or absorb power. She actively shaped or influenced the source itself, perhaps becoming its guardian, its balance, even its new embodiment. The gate closing immediately signifies a boundary set, a choice made, perhaps a new order established within that ancient magic, with Lyra now its shepherd. Which raises the crucial lingering question for us. What exactly did she change? What profound implications does that have for ancient magic itself, and indeed for the entire magical world, now that its oldest, wildest power has been fundamentally altered by a young unicorn's choice?
So much to think about there. And so our incredible journey with Hagrid and Lyra comes to a quiet, profound close. They make their solemn return to Hogwarts, the landscape now at ease, as if immense tension has receded, leaving a peaceful hum. Lyra is settled in the starlit glade behind Hagrid's hut, now ringed by new, taller trees reaching for the heavens. She walks freely, unburdened, her magic causing moss and tiny flowers to bloom briefly beneath her hooves, ethereal beauty reflecting the night sky in still pools. And sometimes she pauses, her deep, ancient eyes looking west as if remembering a place beyond words. Profound choice made, a destiny embraced.
Her new role is clearly unique, a powerful being actively influencing her environment in gentle, life-affirming ways, a living conduit of balanced, wild magic. She can even perceive creatures not of this world in her dreams, showing her profound, expanded connection to ancient forces and realms. Tobin, too, remains a powerful testament to the story's enduring impact. Continuing at the school, no longer a poacher but a dedicated scholar, studying magical creatures, meticulously documenting his extraordinary experiences in that journal. It's a path of redemption through dedicated learning and stewardship, showcasing how deeply one can be transformed by true understanding and accepting responsibility.
So what does this all mean for us, for you, our listeners? What's the true weight of Lyra's choice? And what enduring wisdom can we draw from this deep dive into the wild source?
Well, I think this deep dive reveals that ancient wild magic isn't just a relic of the past, a forgotten legend in dusty tomes. It's a living, breathing force, actively interacting with the present, often in ways defying modern understanding and neat spells. Lyra's story shows us that sometimes the greatest power isn't in wielding a spell or controlling a creature, but in making a profound personal choice. A choice to embrace destiny, face the unknown, transform rather than merely be transformed. And that such choices can reshape the very fabric of magic itself, creating new possibilities and profound responsibilities. It reminds us there are forces at play far beyond our current understanding, ancient currents beneath the world's surface. and that some doors, once open, don't lead to endings, they lead to new beginnings. And the song of that old power still echoes patiently for those who truly listen.